Hello, thank you for submitting your question, and hopefully I'm understanding it correctly because it is pertaining to your novel. Um, there's a couple of ways that you can do this, and the reason I preface it like that is because there are a couple of ways. It really just depends on how you want to display your content. You're already familiar with what pages are. Pages are essentially where the content would lay on the website and it would do so in a very static format. You're not going to change the page much, or even if you do change it often, it's not done in such a dynamic way that the content would remain here and more content would just get added to the page. Um, the other method of doing that is by using quote unquote a page. It's not necessarily a page, it's known as a category post, to where the page is there, but it's essentially blank to some extent, and that when you create a post, the post gets added to it. Just think of it kind of like a journal or a diary of some sort, to where you can use a half of the page if you wanted to for day one, another half, and let's say another 2 pages for day two. So to the same extent, it's kind of like that with this. So I'll kind of go into it real quick and show you exactly what I'm talking about. Since you're already familiar with Pages, I won't go in that route. Really, it's pretty simple to do what you've already done thus far, Pages. But where posts and categories make the exception is how it's displayed. So the first thing you want to do, and I'll use your the image information you gave me as kind of like a jumping off platform to do this. So what you're going to do is go to categories. And the reason you're going to want to go to categories is you need to create a category first that it must be in. So in this case, we'll do, I believe it's optimism. And you're going to fill it out pretty much the way I'm doing here. And really, there are multiple ways, so I'm just going to show you a couple of different ways. So you don't have to do it in this order. I'm just doing this to kind of preface it. Or actually, you know what? I will go ahead and show you the way in which you could do it the first way so I don't confuse you. So we created a category called optimism. Why do we do that? Because we're going to want to put it in the menu bar. So right now your menu looks like this. We'll go to categories, wall, optimism, go to save menu, and then we'll go to posts. So essentially what that did on here was added this. But on here, you can notice that there is no content, and that really inside of categories, there is no way to create a content or any content for a category. What you'd have to do is actually create a post. So let's call this one. And I'm just going to grab some text from a Ipsum Lorem site, drop it in here. And we have to make sure that we go according to the different options that we have in here. So we want it to be a standard format, and this is really added by the theme. But in categories, you have to tell it where you want this post to go. We want it to go into optimism. And the reason for me turning this off is to not allow discussion or comments on the post. So I'll show you that in a moment. So we'll click publish. And now we'll go ahead and look at the site. And that's what it'll look like. So someone will be able to click on chapter 1. And there they go. We can turn off feature image so that this will go away. And to show you what it looks like if we added a second one, and this is where it being dynamic comes in. So instead of just the content being here and us having to go in and edit the content, what we'd all actually only have to do is go to just add a new post. Go to chapter 2 there. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and take a look. And you see it is going to go by date order. Whichever ones were posted first are going to start working their way down. But they will be archived after a while. If you want to, you can archive them so people can go back and look. What this is good for is for people who want to run journalistic kind of sites or things like that. But you could also use this as part of your chapters if you so wanted to. So there is that way. The other way that you could do this is we'll first want to go to Appearance and go to Menus. And what we'll do is we will put this here. Okay, and the reason I did that is so that it is just a label. And I'll show you exactly what I mean in a moment. So this one, we'll call it chapter 1. Of course, we want to make sure we're using the proper layout. Now we'll just do this really quickly to show you the difference. Now you see this is kind of a good amount to go through just to do what we just did earlier, but there are people who've written their own books and have done it this way as well. So it really just depends on how you want it to look or display to the visitor of your site. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is now that that's published, let's go back to menus. We'll take these two, add them in. We'll move them over to create subcategories. Then we'll refresh this page, have a look at the site. Oh, we have to remove, we should remove this one so that we can see it. Okay, see how there are submenus here? So the reason for me making the custom first of all, so you go to links and then you just remove the URL after you put the pound sign in there, is so that there's nothing to click here. I'm clicking as much as I want to, and really, it goes nowhere. So when you click on chapter 1, it takes you here. Chapter 2 will then take you here. So there are different ways to do it. Just choose whichever one is best for you, and if you have any further questions, feel free to let me know. Thanks.